Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36, The Value in Learning Sales. So recently I was on a call with Caitlin Zimmerer, a top leader in Houston, and she was leading a call with leaders from all around the country. It was very cool to see the amount of respect that you have from your fellow comrades, and I thought you're a great moderator. You asked a lot of really good questions. And in the beginning of the call, he asked a lot of questions on, hey, Jamie, when you were new in the business, what was your background and why did you choose sales? Why was sales, something you gravitated towards? And I thought that was really interesting. I mean, it certainly made me think, as a child, in elementary school, the golden question of, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there were a lot of answers like, I want to be an astronaut, I want to go to outer space, or I want to be a professional hockey player, or a professional baseball player, or doctor, actor, something like that. But not once did I hear somebody say, and it certainly never crossed my mind, oh, I want to be a salesperson. I want to be a commission salesperson. Heck, I never even heard I want to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I grew up learning French, and that word never came out of anybody's mouth, entrepreneur. And so how did we end up getting involved in sales? And so I made a reference to the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I was lucky enough to have met this guy at a party last year. I thought that was really cool. The guy's had such a big impact on my career and my thoughts on real estate and investing in things. So that was really cool. It's funny, within 5 seconds of talking to Robert, next thing you know, I'm buying a bunch of gold and silver. I mean, so how did that end up happening? But anyway, so I felt like I was living in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I first started off going through the field. And here's what I mean by that. My train of thought, my mindset before coming into the business, and I think a lot of people can identify with this, is, listen, you go to school, you get good grades, and then you come out of it and you get yourself a good, safe, secure job. And Robert would say, well, listen, that's poor dad advice. Like, poor dad advice? Like, there's something wrong with that? He goes, well, listen, that's how poor people think and train their kids to think. The rich have a counter to that. And the rich would say, I mean, they wouldn't say, don't go to school, don't get good grades. They wouldn't say that, but they would say, listen, instead of seeking safe and secure, seek growth. Don't get caught up in how much you get paid per hour. Don't worry about that. Just become an expert at something. Grow in something, learn, go the extra mile. Do things today that you're not getting paid for today, and then the money will come after. So very different train of thought. And this new thought process for me, this rich dad train of thought, was really emphasized by a lot of the wealthy people that I was meeting in the field. I had a lot of wealthy people that would, ask me, hey, how long you been in sales, and do you work on commission, and good for you, son. It's the only way to find out how much you're worth. And I'm like, never have I heard things like that before. I thought that was really interesting. And so, again, my mind really started shifting in the field. I'm living in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad is how it felt. And Robert says in the book that, listen, it's great to get people skills. It's great to get sales skills. He says your upward mobility in any career, whatever you choose to do, your upward mobility is going to depend on your salesmanship and your people skills. I'm like, really? Is that a true statement? Well, listen, let's look at the medical profession. He does a deep dive with, let's say, being a doctor. Well, the good news is if you're a doctor and you don't have people skills, you will not get barred from medicine because you suck with people. It's just not going to happen. You're going to continue to practice. But your upward mobility, okay, your people skills drive your upward mobility. You could potentially become head surgeon at a hospital where you're not even doing the surgery anymore. You're leading a team of surgeons. Or you could end up starting your own practice where you've got a team of employees working with you. But your upward mobility is dependent on your people skills. So get people skills. When I read the book 7 Habits, Stephen Covey says, listen, we've all been formally trained in communication skills. You've spent lots of time in school learning how to read, learning how to write, learning how to speak. Okay, sounds familiar. But how much time have you been formally trained in learning how to listen? I mean, I didn't take any classes. I haven't been formally trained in listening. Well, listen, the field will give you your PhD in listening because if you can't listen effectively, you're not making the sales, right? So interesting how that all ties together. John Maxwell says in his book, Winning with People, that the most important skills that we'll ever need as a human being are, it's not nunchuck skills, it's not golfing skills, it's people skills. Your ability to communicate with people, your ability to listen, your ability to listen with empathy, to then speak in a simple way, articulate your vision. I mean, that's what you're learning in sales. That's the value of sales. So that's super important. Another train of thought, I mean, this has been going through my mind for years now. We've all known that artificial intelligence is coming, and so I've got 3 young kids, and I want to navigate them through career options, and at some point in time, hey, what should I be studying in school, and what college should I go to? I mean, those conversations are coming. So I'd like to know, like, what industries are going to be affected by AI, and there's certainly lots of articles out there. Think about the logistics industry for a second. It's not far-fetched to think that a lot of those jobs in the logistics industry are going to be replaced by robotics, okay? Inventory management, transportation. At some point in time, you'll be able to get an Uber ride. And again, this isn't sci-fi thinking. This is coming sometime soon. Hey, let me get an Uber driver, and the car shows up and there's nobody driving the car. I mean, I think we all know these days are coming. So what jobs are going to be safe and what jobs are going to go away? Well, from everything I'm reading, listen, the jobs that are going to be safe and the industries where, listen, we're going to need humans are going to require something where emotions are involved and relationships are involved. I read an article saying a therapist is probably the safest, most secure position in the future because a robot will never take over the job of a therapist. High-end salespeople will not be replaced by robotics. So it's interesting. So I'm kind of thinking about the future too and like the value of learning sales. I remember a quote that I heard years ago from an old mentor of mine, Larry Tenenbaum, and this really made me scratch my head. He says, the only reason why somebody gets laid off in any company, again, scratching my head, is because somebody somewhere in some department didn't make the sale. And most people would rather gamble on somebody else to make the sale than they're willing to bet on themselves to make the sale. So interesting. So he's always said there's 2 different kinds of employees in companies. There's the people that drive revenue, okay? There's the revenue builders, and then there's the people that are costs. And anytime a company's got to tighten up and there's potential layoffs, it's always the people that are on the cost side of the equation that you don't lay off the people that drive revenue into the business. And I think a lot of companies, I mean, I'm already seeing this happen. I think you're all seeing this happen. You go into the fast food industry as an example, and listen, there's now screens that you touch with what you want to order. There's not a cashier. So sure, there's still humans inside making the food for you as you grab it on the way out, but they're eliminating a lot of positions. They're having fewer employees to run that business. So I think as wages go up and costs go up, I think a lot of companies are going to counter those wage increases with, oh, no problem, you can raise wages. We're just going to have fewer employees to really run the business efficiently. So that's something to really think about. And so, you know, I think about I read an article from Startup, and it says how to future-proof your career. Right? So again, going down the lines of like AI and how to deal with potential AI. I mean, how to future-proof, okay, your career. And the number one answer to future-proofing your career is enhance your interpersonal skills. If you're good with people, right, good at sales, you can effectively then learn to lead people. You can develop people. I mean, just knowing how people operate and knowing how to communicate is super important for, you know, making sure that you're protecting yourself down the road in the world of AI coming. So there's an old saying of, if you seek security, you'll never find it. If you seek opportunity, you'll find it and security in the process. So learning sales might just give you the unintended consequence of job security in the future. So those are just my thoughts here on, you know, the value in learning sales. I'm obviously a huge fan of, like, I think everybody should learn it. I'm not saying everybody should make a career in it, you know, 30-year career in sales. I'm just saying getting that foundation of just good, strong people skills will serve you so well, whether it's in this business or outside this business. No question about it. The value of sales is super important for every career that you get involved with. So hope you guys found that useful. Pleasure talking with you guys always. Keep the questions coming, and I'll talk to you guys soon.